Thank you very much for coming by to the Indian Embassy. Wanted to meet you all one last time, professionally. Have been meeting the press intermittently from time to time on various occasions. As you know, something we do, we always tell you. And then I remember the first time when I had a meeting with the press, it was in my house. I had a little reception kind of thing, and I met people there. But times have gone by, and it is little less than 2 years for me. I came in September 2013, and I would be departing from Budapest on 1st of August. So it has given me 23 months to be exact. It is not a normal tenure. A normal tenure is nearly 3 years or even more. Some of my predecessors have stayed even more than 3 years. But trust me, it is not that I am recalled to my ministry. I am not. Some people get recalled because if they don't do good work, they are pulled up and they are sent back to headquarters. In my case, it's not. I am willingly going back. But it's more a fait accompli than a consent, because for me, I retire from my service at the end of this month. So the government has fixed, in our case, 60. I think Hungarian system is 65 or more. Many countries have different ages. For us, it is quite young. So I thought I would do something else, and then I branched off to some other area which Chris knows quite well. He brought out a little piece on that, namely a research area pertaining to some aspects of the Roma empowerment in Hungary and comparing them with Indian marginalized classes, social economic empowerment, comparative methodology of experiences sharing. But that apart, I wanted to talk to you today, basically give a broad brush stroke on what has happened during these 2 years. I knew I had a very short time at my disposal, and I knew that we still had to do something and produce some results. Hungary has always been, historically been, very close to us, very close to India. This for me? No, I don't take it. You know that. I'll take the chair. So we have started actually on a very good note since the time we became independent, and we were still not. And it's a long, long time. And if you see our list of ambassadors, I think I'm the 13th or so on our list since our very first ambassador was posted soon after independence in 1948. And we have moved on from one level to the other. Of course, 1989 was a big break in this kind of a relationship, because you went off into a different level of so-called independence for yourself. So you started functioning, I mean Hungary, started functioning on a different level. Earlier we were looking at Hungary as part of the so-called Eastern Bloc at the time. And the Eastern Bloc dismantled, like many parts of Russia. Our relationship had a better equilibrium after that, more of balance, and we started to talk to each other directly and not from Moscow. And therefore it was for me a relationship built over the last, let's say, 25 years for us. So this particular relationship is progressing slowly but surely. I think Hungary has understood the importance of India as one of the key countries in their Eastern opening policy, and therefore Prime Minister Orban's visit in October 2013 to India was a watershed in that particular kind of relationship. Watershed in a lot of ways. Watershed in developing the political muscle to our relationship. that we got teeth. We earlier were talking in terms of ideological rhetorics in the earlier period. Of course, other things were joined to it, but it was more ideological. Now we are talking of a more functional relationship, which we could give to each other in the current period, what we could share with each other in our contemporary context. You in the European context, in the context of the EU membership and other things, we in the context of our emerging kind of, you can say, a power position for India, not only within our region but in the larger world as well. So we looked at each other with a new kind of respect, a newfound respect. And my visit, or rather my arrival in Budapest, timed very well. I came just a few weeks before Prime Minister Orban was to go to India. And I learned a lot during that time because I was right in what they call the front of the boxing ring, because I was in the middle of all the negotiations which were happening at that time to prepare for the visit on this side. So I was then dealing with then Foreign Minister and other people who were involved. The present Foreign Minister was also a key person in that time, and I was dealing with him also for negotiating various things which was going to happen in the visit. The visit was a landmark success from both sides. I definitely placed our relationship on a much more qualitatively high level. And after that, I think we haven't looked back. Our relationship has only moved further to attain greater heights. However, I must again add a note of caution that perhaps we could have got more leverage out of this visit. What has happened is, of course, Hungary is a free country, independent country, but Hungary is still tied within the context of the EU situation generally, and therefore, for example, 70 to 75% of your trade directly goes towards EU countries, and you have virtually 20% of your trade globally to cater to the whole world. And what is India's share in that? India's share is negligible in that. So it has to be negligible unless you think of recalibrating your total trade basket, which I think now people in the government are thinking here. For us, India is a vast market, both in terms of trade, in terms of business. We are open to any kind of thing. We are open to investments. We are open to getting more Hungarian investments into India. Unfortunately, Hungarian investments in India haven't really made a march over the years. We still have Richter Gideon, two companies, two units of Richter Gideon in India. They are still there, and between the two of them, their investment is to the tune of about 30 to 35 million US. And there are 2-3 other small-time companies, Hungarian companies. Together, there could be in the range of 50 million US. The total Hungarian investment in India today amounts to about 50 million US, whereas ours now has already exceeded 2 billion US with the coming of Apollo, and I'm counting Apollo's investment. That is the biggest investment from our side. Also, they got the biggest investor award by the Hungarian government for 2014, having brought in 450 million euro plus 75 million euro from EU, etc., makes it 525 million euro, which Apollo has injected into this economy, or will inject into this economy, which will make this economy a totally much more dynamic economy than it is now, by virtue of the manpower intake, by virtue of the modernization, because they will install the most modernized plant of theirs anywhere in the world in Hungary. And that the chairman himself mentioned while they were laying the foundation stone, which I happened to also be there. Prime Minister was doing the honors, and it was a grand ceremony, and therefore I posit a very big stakes of Apollo in the Hungarian economy in the future. And Hungarian economy, the Apollo will start producing its first tire sometime in 2017. So and from then, I think basically your pneumatic business here for tires, tubes, etc., will take a dynamic turn here in Hungary. Similarly, we are expecting a few more big ticket investments. One was, of course, all of you know about Tata's. They have looked elsewhere for this investment. But I have not lost hope, because it is a dynamic and continuing process. One goes, the other comes. It all depends on various objective conditions on the ground. If they are met, and if Hungary stands the course of a highly competitive environment today in the world of global investment, our investors will come. There is no doubt about it. They will always come, because they are looking for new markets. They are looking for new places. Though India is a huge market themselves, but they would like to go global. They would acquire. There are a lot of acquisitions now going on by Indian companies. In other words, Indian companies are also by and large shedding the image of being only inward looking. They are looking global. They are being global. So that having said, I think this was one important area for me to focus on. How to develop trade, how to develop investment. On trade, we have had about 10% growth year on year since 2013-14 and 2014-15. Not much to talk about, mainly because of this constraint in which we are working. But from our side also, we need to diversify our trade basket. And we have had several engagements, business engagements here. Some of you may have come, attended. We hold seminars quite regularly, maybe on a quarterly basis. We do, and we invite the entire media to come. We engage the Hungarian Chamber of Commerce, the Hungarian investment, the apex body of investment, and various other related agencies. They come, they speak. The last such investment delegation which came from India was very recent. It was in June last month, and it was headed by what we call the Confederation of Indian Industry, CII. Is one of the three major industry bodies of India, CII. And CII is very familiar with this region, and therefore they had done their homework well. They knew that what areas they would talk to here. They had brought their companies accordingly, and they knew that they will be meeting through our embassy. We supported that, and we helped in organizing B2B meetings, and we had a few other dignitaries. They met a few ministers. And that was a very satisfying visit. So the point I'm making is these kind of visits will keep on going. And again in November this year, we have invited already one business delegation from Hungary to go to India. One investment delegation. Because in November we have a very important exhibition, what we call Indian Trade ITPO, Indian Trade Promotion Organization, organizes something called India International Trade Fair, IITF, and that is held every year for 2 weeks in November, and that is held in Delhi. We have invited, and I hope the chances look promising. At the same time, we are going to have what we call a Joint Economic Commission in November. This will be the 4th JEC. Which is actually taking stock of our entire gamut of relationships, including political, cultural, everything. So that was last held during Prime Minister Orban's visit in 2013, October, and now 4th one is coming in November. That is one dimension of our relationship. The other dimension are various areas like culture. I'll introduce you to our director, of course, is well known. He is Mr. Umesh Kumar, director of our cultural center. Mr. Dhiman Bhattacharya, he is head of administration, and for now he is looking after consular work and various other works. He is basically the housekeeper, the accounts keeper, and the money bags of the mission. Very powerful man. And Mr. Natashan, who is looking after political work, and basically he is in charge of all our exchanges with the Foreign Office here and with Delhi, and various information which goes out, collecting information, preparing dossiers, etc. And we have one other officer who is presently away. He's in India, who does economic work, economic and consular work.
So if you wish to ask any further questions after I finish, please do so. All of them are here. They'll be happy to take on your questions. What I was telling about this cultural aspect, I always believed in culture. I always believed that culture is a huge asset for India, because we are projecting culture, what we call cultural diplomacy. Though we do not have the means like some other countries have, yet we have a whole world of assets with us, which we can easily encash for better gains for our country. What we call a soft power. We are building a soft power. Many countries are building their other powers. We are building our soft powers. Soft power is innocent. Soft power does no harm to anybody. It's a win-win situation for all. For us, it was a great advantage in Hungary, because Hungary already knew a lot about India's cultural assets, cultural history, heritage. So we had our center, for example, going on for several years now, and it was revamped in 2011 when we started a new center functioning, which is the other part of this building. And later we have named it at Amrita Shergill Cultural Center. Amrita Shergill, you will ask, who is she? If you don't know her, she is one of the icons of Indian contemporary painting. She is also regarded very highly in Hungary because of her mixed Indo-Hungarian parentage. Her father was Indian Sikh person, and her mother was a Hungarian. Her life was a tumultuous life herself, very, and she died a very early death. But the body of work which she has left behind is stupendous. So we felt that it would be very apt to call this center in her name, which gives a certain brand for this particular center. And also this cultural center has picked up immensely with various kinds of activities. The last activity under my charge today in the center, I would like to invite all of you to come there. We have what we call a Vedanta society gathering. Again, I was the one who set up that idea of having a Vedanta society here for people who would be interested in knowing something more about Indian spiritual traditions, about Indian knowledge tradition. I think Vedanta gives them a good grounding on that. So I felt that, and to my surprise, I found many Hungarians who were not only interested but already there, in the sense that they were already knowledgeable about many things to do. Thus, for example, you see today, most of our speakers will be Hungarians, and they will be speaking from their points of view about various aspects of this Vedantic knowledge. On the culture, that is where I would sum it up. If you have any question, tourism. This is a rather has been a rather low-key area for us. For one reason, because I personally feel that your country has tremendous potential for boosting tourism between our two countries, because it's really a marvelous country to visit. A short visit to Hungary as well as some other places in Hungary, for example, Balatonfüred. Trust me, not many Indians would know about Balatonfüred. While the Balatonfüred is so much associated with the name of one of the greatest Indians, Rabindranath Tagore, who spent 3 weeks there. 3 memorable weeks of his life he spent there. But if I ask any Indian in India, they would hardly know it. Which means there is not much publicity, and it also goes to show about the larger Hungary in general, about lack of proper awareness about Hungary for Indians to come here. They would come as far as Austria, Vienna, and go back. If they have a little more budget, they will go up to Prague and go back. If they have a little more budget, they may touch Budapest for one night and go back. But that's not all. We want more a steady stream of visitors coming. The further thing which has also gone against it is, from the Hungarian side, without any prejudice to anybody's system or otherwise, Hungary is a part of the Schengen group, as you know, and Schengen group have their own rules and regulations. Therefore, getting visas is not a very simple matter from the Hungarian side in Delhi or in any other part of India. It is quite a difficult task. and sometimes the forms are cumbersome, sometimes the procedures are quite long, arduous, sometimes people don't have patience. For example, if your family is going out on a family vacation and they have a limited budget and not much time to have organized that, they can't wait for a long period of time to get a visa to go to Hungary. So it defeats the purpose. So we have been asking this government to somehow see if the procedures could be streamlined. From our point of view, for Hungarians to go to India, I am very happy to tell you that we have now started from September. We are going to start what we call e-visa, issuing e-visas. So far we have given to about 130 odd countries. Hungary will be the latest to be added on that list. E-visa is basically electronic visa. You just fill in a form, and when you go there, you just hand over that form. It is passed at the immigration counter, and there you go. You don't have to get anything done otherwise. Otherwise, our visa regime is extremely liberal from our point of view. We normally would clear a tourist visa in a matter of 48 hours. In fact, I made it a point that we should not go beyond 48 hours in any case. Sometimes even less. Sometimes even some people would come to us over the weekend and ask for services we have delivered them. So I think it is something of an asset for us that we can cater to Hungarian requirements when and where it is required. We do not really bother much about having holidays or going somewhere. We are always available. And that is one service which I deem to be extremely important. Because that is the first window where we are facing the Hungarian people. And we want as many people to go to India as possible. And I must tell you that over the last 2 years, I have seen a steady rise in the number of Hungarian visitors to India for various things. We would like to see more business visitors go, because that is, as I mentioned in the beginning, business is a very important area for us. I wish we are going to give long-term visa, you can say multi-visa, what we say, for long-term validity. Multiple entry. So we would like to see how tourism can be further boosted between our two countries. I am not going into what is there for tourism. You all know. People like him or whosoever has been to India and stayed there and seen, explored the country would be more than convinced. So I don't have to convince you more. The other very important area from our point of view was education. And I must say that I myself took some efforts in this. I am happy to announce you that we are shortly going to have a chair of contemporary Indian studies in LTE University. That has come after a good deal of efforts. In fact, it is nearly finalized. We have MOU ready. I leave it to my successor to come and look at it and finalize it. And so that would be a kind of a private-public partnership basis, where private corporate group companies also to an extent subsidizing the costs on maintaining of the chair, whereas the government of Hungary will be paying a part of it. The University of LTE University will be happy to provide their venue, the logistics, and Embassy of India will be linked insofar as the books, the Indian other materials, the resource materials are concerned. So it is a very nice ideal combination for all. So we are trying this out. We have also been in touch with Pech University, because in Pech you already have a school named after Mahatma Gandhi. We go there very often. We are closely associated with that school. And then we have last year given them a bust of Mahatma Gandhi, which they have installed in their gardens of the university. To add to that, we have also suggested to them opening of a Gandhi study center. And they have agreed at their highest level, which is also supported by the mayor, the rector of course, and we are building that. Because as you know, Gandhi study is not only the study of a personality, but the study of peace, conflict resolution methods, a great dimension of political science theory these days, very much needed, very much relevant. So we hope that it also takes off. Meanwhile, Corvinus University has shown interest also in setting up what they call a technology chair, because they reckon that India is currently a technologically advanced country or beginning to be. So they would like to see about the science and technology strides what we have made. And on science and technology, I should tell you that we have a standing joint commission. Not commission, it's a standing joint committee. Not a, it's a committee.
Yes, sir.
Joint Science and Technology Committee.
Yes, sir.
Last time when Prime Minister Orban went to India, it was enhanced because it has joint funding from both sides. So it was enhanced to 2 billion euro. Both sides will fund, which is Hungary puts in 2 billion, our side puts in 2 billion. So it has a corpus of 4 million for taking up projects of high technology value in various areas. And they take normally on an average 5 to 6 projects annually. And these are mostly projects of 6 to 8 months duration. And it is taken up. This year it is finalized. They have 6 projects which they have finalized by consultation. And next year they are going to come and meet again for another batch of projects which will be put up. The committee will then approve and then they will go forward. On the side, I should tell you, your very prestigious Hungarian Academy of Sciences. We are trying to open up some linkage for them because they, as you know, they have a department of social sciences within that. So that department, we are engaging them in a kind of a institutional networking with one of our leading social science institute. It's called Indian Council for Social Science Research. So I have already invited the Director General of this ICSSR to visit India, to visit Hungary and to visit the Hungarian Academy and have prospective talks to further engage these two institutions. Maybe they will sign an MOU between these two institutions at that level. Having said that, I must come to defense. There was one very important MOU which was signed during Prime Minister Orban's visit on what you call the major CBRN areas. CBRN areas is the chemical, biological, nuclear areas which are the recent areas of warfare technology. And Hungary, we reckon, has made important strides in these areas. And therefore we've had exchange of delegations. We've had some Indian technical delegations come look at those installations here, what Hungary we can take from Hungary, what kind of things we can also share from our side, and that has gone up at some distance. And we are now about to finalize and sign what we call a MOU on science and technology in defense cooperation, between the science and technology within defense. It is not a civilian area, but it is defense, pertaining to defense. I think it will be a groundbreaking agreement which we have before us. And once that is signed, India and Hungary will come to share a very special defense relationship. Meanwhile, we have also engaged ourselves with the V4 group. You know the V4 group. Hungary is one of the 4 countries which is important in terms of your regional profile. We have engaged ourselves at the Director General level. And the last meeting in Bratislava, we attended, our Director General came, and he happens to be coincidentally also the new ambassador who is succeeding me, the person who is already engaged in B4, who is well aware of this region. So this is going to be elevated further in the months to come to perhaps ministerial level. And we would like to see more and more such engagement coming. The last but not the least is the area of traditional medicine, which we call Ayurveda. I think you all know about yoga or about Ayurveda, how well they have been received the world over. We have down below, right below this on the ground floor, we have what we call an Ayush Information Center, where we disseminate all information pertaining to Indian holistic medicinal systems. This we have done in January 2014, a few months after I came here, and we got a grant from our Department of Ayurveda, Ayush, and we set it up. Basically, we do promotion activities related to Ayurveda, and that led to finally setting up of a chair of Ayurveda in the University of Debrecen. Why Debrecen? Is because Debrecen showed a great interest in encouraging Ayurvedic education, training, etc. The rector himself was a great patron, lover of Ayurveda, Professor Silvasi. Thanks to him, to all other collaboration, that has fructified. And we have a chair, actually a chair set up in December last year, December 2014. The chair was set up. This comes from a framework agreement which we signed during Prime Minister Orban's visit again, bilateral cooperation in traditional medicine, and under that, and of a former agreement also on healthcare. We are engaging ourselves on various aspects of healthcare in general. This has come on ground. The incumbent, Professor Baghel, who is a reputed Ayurvedic trainer, expert, he gives a lot of training programs now, particularly to doctors, to Western doctors, who would like to know more about Ayurvedic healthcare to further enhance their scope of education, knowledge, to be able to get to diagnose patients who are suffering from modern day conditions of illnesses. And Ayurveda has a good deal of importance for those kind of, which are chronic problems. They can well treat those. And we have this huge, I would say, billion-dollar industry back home on the basis of Ayurveda. We have what we call medical tourism. Apart from Western medical treatment, we give them the best of Ayurvedic facilities and treatment. And given your importance as a spa capital of Europe, where you have any number of resorts and spas, we feel that it is the future in terms of tourism, in terms of getting boost in your economy, and in terms of popularizing the country by and large. So if I told somebody back home that in Budapest alone you have 20 famous spas, they will not believe me. They have to come here to experience that. And you have that. You have 200 spas all over your country, which is I think phenomenal. And they are all natural waters coming out from the ground. So this is going to lead to what the Debrecen University is visualizing in future, European Institute of Ayurvedic Studies and Training, which is a huge, ambitious project. And through that they are going to disseminate Ayurvedic knowledge throughout Europe, invite people, students from all parts of Europe to come and learn. That will be the nodal center and financed by the EU. That is the beauty of it. Not only the government of Hungary, but EU will also be a stakeholder in building out that institute. So it has great future for Europe in terms of learning, and maybe we'll see much more exchanges in the field of Ayurveda between this country and India, and many people can come, be more proficient in Ayurvedic treatment, and that will give also a certain edge to your modern Western medicine technology, because I should dispel any myths you have that Ayurveda is not a bush medicine. It may have been maybe 2000 years ago, it's no longer bush medicine. It is modern medicine with modern technology, modern testing procedures, and it has been also recognized by the WHO as an alternative medicine. So it is well within the domain of alternative medicines, and we have a huge corpus of universities, of colleges, of students, of teachers, of professionals, practitioners, etc. in India. In fact, all our medicines must have an Ayurvedic unit because of its importance. So we also have that. Today evening, I think Professor Baghel is coming, the chair is coming. We will do a talk on the relevance of Ayurveda in relation to Vedanta. So by and large, I would sum it up on the political front. I think, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have the most cordial of relationships. We can get more depth, more meat into that, because I feel political relationship is always characterized by a gamut of relationships flowing into it. And if you build up those relationships, the political relationship automatically goes higher, because a much larger stakes are built into that relationship. And that makes the relationship more valid and more, long-standing and very strong. And that is what is going to be, because Hungary, we have also perceived that Hungary's importance within the regional context is growing, and it is good that we can look at Hungary in a different perspective. So, having said all that, I indulge your patience to have borne with me, and now is the time for some questions, answers. If you care to ask me or any of my colleagues here, please feel to do so while we are having some Indian snacks and something to drink and eat. So thank you very much once again for coming to bring me around.
Thank you. Yes.
I have a question regarding the travel employees. You mentioned that it's rather difficult to have a visa for people of India when they plan to travel to Hungary. And I would like to ask if you have negotiations
Yes.
in these questions, and how do you see the situation? I mean, how long it takes to get the situation better?
I think the situation has improved a lot since before. I see that happen in my time. I think they have understood the value of Indian tourists coming to Hungary. I think your tourism market gets a lot of tourists from the nearby countries. You have more of neighboring countries, people coming in and bulk of the tourists. So perhaps that problem had not been perceived in such a big manner. This problem of people coming from outside of the Schengen area or outside of Europe and will enter here, how difficult it is. But by and large, many countries of this area are liberalizing tourism, even within the Schengen framework. So we are trying to impress upon the government that it is possible still. You can still be a part of that, but you can make a little more allowance. For example, simplify your forms, for example. You need not have a 5-page form. You can make it 2 pages and make it more understandable by people who can read it. Sometimes the forms all coming in Hungarian. So when a person starts reading Hungarian, he doesn't know what to say, what to do, what to write. So then he feels a little discouraged. So that is the thing. But we have been telling, and they have responded. They have responded positively. So I hope this situation will ease somewhat, but we will still operate within the constraints that are on the ground. We cannot go beyond that. From our side, as I said, we have laid out the red carpet, virtually the red carpet. We are free in every sense of the term. Now we are liberalized the business visa in a big way. As I said, we are up to giving 5 years of long-term visa for business visitors, long-term visa for student visitors for studying in India, various aspects of culture, various aspects of learning. They want to go to India. I forgot one point on education. I must tell you that we have had the stipendium scheme of the Hungarian government, under which 200 scholarships had been announced by Prime Minister Orban himself during the visit. And that is now coming to be implemented from September this year. So I was just seeing a communication from that foundation which has sent us this message, where they have selected 128 Indian students to be studying in various universities of Hungary in one time from September. So you have at one go intake of at least 120 Indian students coming into your universities. All the major universities are there. So that is one big aspect of our education in India. And 35 Hungarian students are also coming to India to study in India. That is a kind of a mutual agreement from both sides. I think this is an extremely important, valuable resource for us. Earlier we used to have scholarships, but they used to come under various other schemes. But this is one area like the stipendium, and this is only going to be there all the time. So I think it will go more and more in the days to come, and I see more and more students coming. They could be our ambassadors. They could promote India as much as anybody else in the embassy can. So I have full faith that in future you will see a whole lot of Indians coming to universities and studying and making friends with Hungarians and living with the Hungarians, and that is a great exchange of cultures between the two countries, leading to various other forms of interaction. Yes, you seen something?
You said a Director General will be the next ambassador, so you already know.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
He's got his agreement and he's coming. I mean, he's coming a day after I leave. Yeah, no gap.
No.
No gap at all. In fact, I leave on a Friday and he takes over on Monday. In that weekend, we exchange positions. Any other question? You can ask in Hungarian. You got Anita to translate. Whatever you wish to ask. Don't feel hesitant.
I think that it's not so bad as it should be.
Thank you.
In India. And what is your proposal? How we could make Hungary?
Our proposal is basically to look at the Indian market more and more. We have told them about the latest schemes of the Government of India. For example, our Make in India project, which is a huge project, which has been announced by Prime Minister Modi, our Prime Minister, in a big way, and which has led to last year only a boost of 22% in our foreign direct investments in India. So it is a huge area which had to be tapped. We are inviting any country, every country to come to India and invest in India and look at the large Indian market. So whatever you can produce in India, you can sell in India. You don't have to look for any other market. In terms of having a huge market and a huge workforce, huge technical trained manpower, you don't have to look elsewhere. Everything is available in India. Language skills, highly educated population, available in India. Market, available in India. So we are telling our Hungarian friends, come look at India, because today India's rate of growth, GDP per capita, is the highest in the world. We have gone beyond 7.3%, whereas the average EU growth per capita is between 1 to 1.5%. Yours is of course around 3%. Yours is the highest incidentally within EU. The others are languishing between minus 0, 1, 1.5. I doubt if somebody has come to 2 or 2.5. But we are at 7.3. And we are hoping to exceed that, come up to 8. And China's growth rate is lagging now. China is about 7. So all indications are that India's growth rate will continue to be the highest in the world for a decade or so. We are going to make a lot of strides on our economy. So this is a good time for Hungary as well as other countries to look at India in terms of your growth opportunities, your exports. You get better value for exports. If the European markets are shrinking because of lack of purchasing power, and look at what happened to Greece. The future doesn't look too bright. Some countries are more promising, and India is one of those countries where one has to look. So we are engaging the government in such a way that, and I think they are responding quite positively. And this JEC, which is going to happen in November, I think we'll secure new ground in that. There will be many areas which will open up for further discussions, exploration. So I think the future looks quite bright in my opinion.